What's up? It's me, Haley Jones, and today we are answering the question, where are the homes with? Insert the end of the sentence. So for example, where are the homes with no city taxes? Where are the homes with mountain views? Where are the homes with lake views? Where are the homes with creeks? But this video is specific to Knox County. So we're talking Knox County, Knoxville, Farragut, Hardin Valley, Powell, Coreyton, South Knox, West Knox, East Knox, Historic North, all the things, Gibbs. So that being said, there are videos about East Tennessee in general. There's one for Maryville, there's one for Seymour, there's one for Sevierville. So if you're interested in those areas, go check that out. And then also the East Tennessee one covers all of it and it's more broad. So this is gonna give you specifically for Knoxville. So let's dive in and get going. All right, so a couple things. We're gonna talk about where are these properties with these given characteristics. Again, this is Knox County only, which does include Farragut. That does include, as I mentioned in the intro, Hardin Valley. Every part of Knox County is what we're talking about. Also, this is a data pool, a sample size of 1 year of overall transactions. So October 16th, 2023 to October 16th, 2024. This is meant to give us a snapshot and a general idea of how many of these properties actually exist and where are they. So if you're specifically wanting a house with well water in Knox County, where is that? If you're specifically wanting a house with sidewalks in Knox County, where is that? So that's what this video is targeted to do. You're gonna see 3 different colors on these graphics. One's gonna be blue, one's orange, and one is green. Blue are sold properties. They're closed, they sold. Orange, those are currently under contract to sell, and green, those are currently active. So this is also gonna give us an idea about, like if we see a ton of blue, that's telling us those houses are selling, right? If there's not a ton of green, that should typically indicate that would be a higher demand property, because if we see more blue than anything, that means those are selling. If we see a ton of green and less blue, then maybe there's, it's more of a buyer's market than a seller's on those specific properties. So that being said, let's dive in and let's talk about it. So first of all, I did pull this data from the East Tennessee Realtors MLS, which is technically 12 counties, but I only pulled data for Knox County. So again, want to reiterate, this is not a picture of East Tennessee. This is a picture for Knox County. Go watch the East Tennessee video if you want that, or go watch the other area specific video. So of the past year, there were 9,541 total homes that sold in the Knox County area. Now, if you're like, how does that compare? So East Tennessee for the year had 27,541. And so our 27,051. Knox County accounts for 9,541 of those. So that is the picture we're looking at. So that being said, how many homes over the past year in Knox County, what percentage of them have some sort of mountain view? So this is a mountain view or seasonal mountain view. Literally, again, this is all human entered data. It's a database. If I go into the MLS and I list a home and I say it has a mountain view, that mountain view could be beautiful or it could be out the bathroom window. So just keep that in mind. This is very broad. So 8% of homes that have transacted over the past year have mountain views. And a lot of times people are like, well, where are the mountain views? If you look at the graphic, you can see they're all over Knox County, very spread out. Because depending on where that property is, how high it sits, it's gonna have a mountain view most likely, because obviously the mountains are in our backyard. So 8% with a mountain view. What about creeks? I get asked about creeks constantly. 2% of listings with a creek over the past year. And if you look at how many are blue, almost all are blue. I see right now, as I'm looking at this, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I see about probably 30 dots that are green and everything else is under contract or blue. Again, those are kind of dispersed. You'll kind of notice a correlation in relation to where lakes and rivers are, but we do have some low-lying areas here. So that being said, again, about 2% of overall listings with creeks, which is actually less than the East Tennessee area. East Tennessee area, about 3% of overall listings. So creeks are hard to come by and they do sell. So keep that in mind. What about lakefront or riverfront? I said riverfront because we have the Tennessee River. So in Knox County, about 14% of homes over the past year that have transacted have a lakefront or riverfront access. So that means they're on the water. And where are those, might you guess? Most of these are on the Tennessee River. You have a couple on French Broad, you have a couple on the Holston. So I do have a video about like where water comes through Knox County. So Holston and French Broad come together and make the Tennessee. And then you also have Mountain Hill, which is kind of the barrier between the end of Knox County by Hardin Valley and then to Oak Ridge area, so Anderson and Roane counties. So that being said, most of these river and lakefronts are going to be on Tennessee River. Well, you're like, what about Watts Bar? What about Fort Loudon? Fort Loudon is technically an offshoot of Tennessee River, so in my mind, it's all Tennessee River. So those, again, those lakefront or riverfront properties, about 14% of overall homes that sold. Again, if you look at the colors, what colors are you seeing? Primarily blue, a couple orange, and very few green. These lake and riverfront properties move very quickly. So keep that in mind. All right, what about Lakeview? So Lakeview accounts for 18% of overall listings over the past year. Again, mostly blue dots that we're seeing on this map. And again, you can see that they're by Tennessee River, Fort Loudon, going through town. County only taxes. So we have Knoxville, the city of Knoxville, and then we have Knoxville, which is also Knoxville, but it's county only taxes. So like for example, my mom lives in Knoxville, but she has county only taxes because she does not live within the Knoxville city limits. If you live within the Knoxville city limits, I've done a whole video about this, but Knoxville has you, as a part of your city taxes, you get trash service, you get EMS, you get the Knoxville police, whereas Knox County, you don't get those things. So that being said, who has county only taxes? And for Knoxville itself, for Knox County, some surrounding areas like Maryville, for example, there's Maryville City Schools, and then there's Blount County Schools. In Knoxville, we have one school system. It is Knox County Schools, and it is both city and county schools. It's all one, Knox County Schools. So that being said, taxes, what percentage have county only taxes? 67% of homes over the past year are county only. And if you look at the graphic, you can see that there's this spot around the middle. And Knox County is huge, by the way. So this is, you're gonna be like, I don't see a blank spot, but there is a blank spot if you look right there. It's the inside of the city. And the way I did that is I said a maximum of a city tax of $1 because I don't have a way to say no county. So if there's $1 or more taxes on your city taxes, then you're in the city. So that's how I pulled that data piece. Sidewalks. This is still flabbergasting to me. The East Tennessee one is flabbergasting. I just don't think this is true. According to the MLS and the data we have, 16% of homes over the past year, so as a snapshot, 16% of houses in Knoxville, Knox County have sidewalks. And I don't understand how that's true. It's like, this cannot be possible. Now, if you look at where they are, you see a bunch of stuff over West Knoxville, Farragut area. You see a bunch of stuff in Hardin Valley. You see a bunch of stuff downtown. And then some kind of below 40 between like Pellissippi and the river. So this to me seems crazy. There's also a bunch up in Halls. And so I'm wondering if even if the front of the neighborhood had a sidewalk, this is counted as a sidewalk. To me, like, there are no sidewalks here. But obviously, 16% supposedly have sidewalks. All right, what about 3 or more garage spaces? Now, I'm not saying specifically a 3-car garage. The spirit of this is to see, is there more garage spaces than just 2? So this could be a 3-car garage or anything more than that. So this could include, maybe you've got a 2-car garage plus an outbuilding with garage spaces. Because I get a lot of clients that are wanting an additional workshop space or an outbuilding, and there's not a good way to really search for that because people enter them so differently. But we pretty much across the board at least say how many plus cars can you park. So 3 or more car places account for 9% of the market. If we look at where those are, as you might guess, those tend to be further out. Now, if you look at the graphic I have provided, if you look by Farragut, you see a ton of blue dots. So those we can assume are new construction for the most part with a 3-car garage. If you look further out, like by Seymour or Rockford, the South Knoxville area, up by Halls, that area, Coreyton, those tend to be probably an outbuilding. So it's going to be specific to area whether or not it's a 3-car garage, or it could be a 3-car garage plus an outbuilding, but just pointing to you that about 9% of overall listings have some sort of 3-car garage or a garage plus an outbuilding, something where there's more space to park all of your cars or your collectibles. Or I have a client who is building a steam engine and he needs a 3-car garage at minimum for the steam engine. So anyways, whatever your thing is, 9% of the market will accommodate it. All right, more than 1 acre in Knox County. 13% of listings have more than an acre. Where are those? As you might imagine, if you look at downtown, there's not really dots there. You also notice that the majority of the dots you're seeing are blue. There's a good amount of green still available and some under contract, but for the most part, these are selling. But you also see that they are dispersed pretty much across the county. So it's not that that's impossible. Again, about 16% of the market, or 13% of the market, excuse me, over an acre. What about 5 or more? So this is where we see a drastic drop. About 2% of overall homes in the Knox County area in Knoxville have more than 5 acres. And then where might we imagine these would be? We imagine these would be outside of the city, which they are if you look at the graphic. But also you can see there's more in South Knox. There's more land. There's more land in Northeast Knox, so towards Strawberry Plains, towards Halls, towards Coreyton. You have a couple opportunities for this in the Farragut area, but noticing that those on the west side, you see quite a bit of blue comparatively. Some green, but there's not a ton of this, 2% of the market. What about townhouses or condos? So this is, the way I search this in the database is to say attached. So this could be like a high rise for downtown Knoxville, for example, or this could be a literal condo or townhouse that are attached to each other. So if it's stuck to something else, it's counted as a townhouse or condo. I don't have a good way to partition out townhouse versus a high rise type of condo situation, so I just did attached. So of those, of the Knox County market, about 14% are some sort of townhouse or condo. Interestingly enough, if you look at the map, these are dispersed really broadly across the county, which I would have assumed we would just see, a heavy dot in Knox County, which we do see that. You do see quite a bit in like downtown Knoxville, which is what I meant to say. And you see quite a bit kind of in the top of South Knox. So that's where you're seeing either those tend to be apartments that that parents buy, for example, for kids going to UT. You see quite a bit of stuff. They're kind of dispersed throughout. So certainly there is an opportunity for a townhouse or condo of some sort. Again, about 14% of the market. Now, what about houses without an HOA? This accounts for 46% of the market. If we look at East Tennessee as a whole, it's about 62% of the market, but Knox County itself, 46. So almost half of the houses for sale do not have an HOA of any kind. I get that question all the time. And then if you're like, where are those? You can see that they are dispersed pretty widely across the county. So that is totally possible. What about new construction? So new construction currently, again, this was pulled, this is a data pull of October 16, 2023 to October 16, 2024. The way I did this is to say houses 2023 built or newer. So some of these are currently under contract. Some of these close. A very small amount might be a resale already. But for the most part, we can count that about right now, 23% of houses are new construction. Now, this is probably the only data point where I'm like, this probably is not indicative of the overall market, because in Knoxville, Knox County, we have underbuilt. So I think that if I were to go pull 2019 data, which maybe I'll do that because I'm a data dork, but we wouldn't see about 25% of the market that's new construction, almost a quarter of the market. I don't think we would see that. So that being said, is new construction possible? Where is it? Is new construction possible? Yes. Where is it? If we again look at the map, we see pockets in Farragut. We see pockets in Hardin Valley. We see just West Knox in general. We see quite a bit of stuff over just east of downtown. We see South Knoxville's new construction. I mean, it's kind of everywhere actually, but quite a bit, as you'll notice, in the West Knox area. Again, accounting for about 23% of the market. What about HOAs that do lawn care? Now, let me point something out to you. When we talked about houses that are townhouses or condos, we would assume that most of those have lawn care. 14% of the market are townhouses or condos. 10% provide lawn care. So 10% of overall listings have lawn care. So it's more likely that you could find a townhouse that might not necessarily have lawn care. So check your HOA, check what it is. Now, obviously, if it's a high rise, there is no lawn. Okay? Just saying. I don't feel like I should say that, like I need to say that, but you know, about 10% of listings of houses that have transacted have some sort of lawn care. This could be houses, but more likely it's townhouses, single story, that are gonna have lawn care. What about houses with in-ground pools? Now, and this is the house itself. Houses in Knox County with an in-ground pool account for about 4% of the market. So those are rare. Where are those? If you look at the map, you see them pretty much dispersed West Knox and then North Knox. Not a ton of stuff east, not a ton of stuff in South Knoxville. And I do think that like the ones that are marked in South Knoxville that are closer into town, they probably likely that's a community pool, not it's part of the house. So I do want to say that there's probably a little bit of error here in data input, but about 4% of houses with an in-ground pool. Now, if you're like, well, I don't necessarily have to have the pool in my house, what about houses or neighborhoods that have a community pool? You have a better chance of that. About 16% of houses in Knox County have a neighborhood pool that you could access. So, you know, is it possible? Yes. Where are those? This is where you see a big difference. If you look at the map, you can see a lot of them are in West Knoxville, quite a bit in Hardin Valley. I mean, pretty much if you look from downtown Knoxville and you look east or west, you see a lot more options for that than what you see north, east, or south. So what about well water? And the reason why I pulled this is because well water makes a couple assumptions. It assumes that you're further out. And in Knox County, we don't really have this. So 1% of overall listings, 100 of 9,541 had well water. Now, the ones that, like, there's one dot that's super close into town, and I bet you that they also have public water on that. Where there's still some houses that have, like, original well, but now they have connected to public utility water. So, but what I want to point out to you is the ones that are on well, that is going to imply that is a property that is further out, probably winding roads. It may be steep. It's likely not currently accessible to public water. Therefore, it is on well water. And probably might it be able to be converted over to public utility in Knox County? It's likely. But if you look over by Mountain Hill, so just under Oak Ridge, above Farragut, you see dots between Farragut and Oak Ridge on the map. That's all Hardin Valley. And some of that is on Mountain Hill. So some of that out there is still very, it feels very far. It feels very farm-like, even though you're kind of in an area that is growing and booming. So those will likely eventually be able to be converted. And then you see some stuff kind of further down, closer to the river. So eventually I think that a lot of this will be all public water available, but certainly you see a bit more on the northeast side by Coreyton, Gibbs, Hall. So if you're wanting more rural, that's kind of your money spot in Knox County. So again, about 1%, it's very not likely, but just for the information of like where's more rural versus where's closer into town, one way to tell that is by looking at where the well water properties are. All right. What about houses with a septic tank? Now, so many people freak out about a septic tank because they've never had a septic tank, which is cool. That's fine. I myself have a house on a septic tank. I don't think it's groundbreaking. I don't think it's the worst thing ever of all time. I mean, there's certain things you don't want to put down the septic tank, but there's also certain things you don't want to put down the sewer either. So it's not a big deal, in my opinion, my personal opinion. So how many houses in Knoxville and Knox County have septic tanks? About 8% of the market has a septic tank. And if you look at this map, you can see that there's kind of this corridor of downtown Knoxville and west. All of that is on public sewer. And then if we look further out, we can tell that pretty much around the area, there's a lot of houses on septic tanks. There's blue, there's green, there's orange. So all of those are selling, all of those are transacting. But again, about 8% of the market. So certainly not the majority, but this is another way to see where are houses further out. Where are more rural areas? Now, if it's on septic, that doesn't necessarily imply that it is, more rural, but it does suggest that maybe it's more mountainous. It's harder to get sewer lines there. So there's some kind of implications or assumptions you might be able to make based on the utilities that house has. Because if it's on well, if it's on sewer and it doesn't have gas, if it's on propane tank, like that, those are indications that it's probably not a level lot. It's probably not treacherous to get there, but it might have some winding roads. It might have some steep roads. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're thinking like, I want to be right into town, it's probably not a house on septic. Okay, so those are all the ones I pulled. Of course, if you have questions, if you're like, Haley, why did you not do this? Then you can always call me. You can always text me. You can always put a comment and we will get that video made for you. That being said, I hope this has been helpful. As you can see, we have a wide range of opportunity for real estate in Knox County. And, it's totally possible to get a house without an HOA. Absolutely. Is it possible to get a house with a creek? Yes. Is it likely? Well, since that's about 2% of listings, it might be tough. So hopefully, as I said, I always try to make videos that are informative and helpful. So subscribe so I can get more information to you if there's something you want specifically. I love when you guys send me suggestions. So send them all. Let's go. Until next time, I'm Haley Jones and I'll see you on the next video.